Shut up, Z.
Pretty sure I heard Kiro's water bottle as well.
You did not. I'll tell you that for free. It was probably my dice.
Okay.
Tinkle, tinkle.
That's a pretty dingly noise.
Right?
Dingle,
I love playing
dingle.
with it.
So, last time was post-fight.
Mm-hmm.
Dee Dee has a new body. That's just Dee. There's
Yes,
nobody
ma'am.
else to fight. We found their camp. And Aang went on a dream sequence that she did not like.
She
True.
liked parts of it.
There was also like the little conversation where the two magic users bonded over being magic users, and they swapped skins for like, you know, a couple minutes. I think they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't do.
It's like,
They didn't
yeah,
come back.
20, a good 20, 30-ish, where Paige was figuring it out how to undo it on the way back.
And got to experience firsthand Willow's style of encouragement, which is like, you probably want to do it before the voices start talking to you, too. Because you're not going to like them. You need to hurry up.
Fucking...
Electra and D also had a convo.
Yeah, Electra and D also talked.
Ooh.
Yeah, about the curse shit.
And they were also
Yes.
like, Hawk ain't shit.
Confirmed. They think Hawk is a huge loser. Is it true? Who knows?
That's
But-
Chronicles too recently.
I need to fix a token
What'd
really
you
quick
say?
because this took. Oh.
Yeah, Iris, you were very
I cracked
quiet when
my
you're
knuckles
talking.
too recently.
Iris, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just so you know, my internet is shit right now for some reason, and I can't load into Foundry.
Oh no.
Really? Oh no.
Yeah, I
Bruh.
think Michael's downloading a game.
Tell Michael to fuck off.
Hmm.
It's game time.
I tried.
Just
Raise up your voice. Do it again.
I can't.
we lift up our voice. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
Joe can give one of us a access to your sheet, and we can just tell you what your bonuses are when you're rolling shit.
Yes. And speaking of rolling shit, we are gonna roll right in to things. Coming back on the heels of Aang's dream wrapping up. Aang, you've woken up in a tree overlooking camp, because you did, if I remember correctly, you did climb to a high branch and
Likes
nod
to-
off.
Yeah, she likes to torpor in her high places. Their
Mhm.
source of comfort. So
What do you do?
Aang wakes up from her torpor and is still shaken by the contents of the dream, and one by one she looks over the camp and she counts everyone that she sees, and then she quickly crosses herself, says a prayer, and even though she's up in this tree, anyone who saw her would note that she looks a bit anxious. And as the others start setting about to go to bed, Aang will call out to Madigan. Madigan? Would they be so kind as to keep this unharried company for a moment?
Maddie was probably chilling by the fire, just doing her own thing. Maybe messing with dinner for everyone.
Yeah, you were roasting up
It's
some
kinda like-
grub.
Yeah. And she kind of turns her head to Ingrid. Huh? Yeah, what you need?
Could could I beg of thee to come up here?
Sure. Is there enough space on that branch?
Oh, worry not for the branch. 'Tis a mighty thing, and has borne greater weights than the two of us.
Maddie eyes the branch a little bit, like, she'll set her hammer down.
Now climb the tree
'Cause
with the
usually she has
hammer.
it really close to her. She's not gonna climb the tree with the hammer. But yeah, she'll, climb up, I guess.
And Herod will scooch over on the branch, allowing space for Maddie. And as she does, she will gesture, like opening one arm up as if gesturing Maddie in for a hug, but it's more like a cuddle situation.
Maddie kind of tilts her head a bit to the side. Hey, are you okay?
I do not know. I was besieged by a thing most terrible and new. Madigan, hast thou ever been troubled by a nightmare?
Yeah, it happens sometimes. She kind of will awkwardly move closer to lean into for a hug. Put her arm around Aang.
Aang will
Was
hug very tight for a second, and then kind of suddenly switches her attention to fussing over Maddie's hair again. But there's a sort of nervous energy to her as she does this.
was it a particularly bad one?
Yes, a thing most terrible, awful, and it was of myself and not. It was one of the most beautiful sights I can imagine, and one of the most horrible.
Maddie kind of turns, because like Aang is messing with her hair and whatnot, and kind of turns so her eye she can look at Aang a bit better. You want to talk about it? Like, we don't have to if you don't want to, but I don't know. Usually talk about this kind of stuff helps.
Be that so? Be that how these nightmares are handled?
I mean, it kind of depends on who you talk to, but no, I find talking about my troubles kind of makes me feel a bit better.
And Herod nods, and I imagine that as Maddie turned around, she was in the process of taking off her gloves, but then she keeps them back on. as Maddie turns toward her. And there's a look of concern on her face as she's deciding how much to speak about this and whether she thinks it would be helpful. But eventually, she settles on something of a hopeful look. All right. Well, I dreamt that I saw her again. I dreamt that she was near to this unharrowed. So near. And she was pursuing some monster or another, one I had not seen before. But I came to a clearing in the woods, and here she clearly starts to struggle and shrinks in on herself, and looks at Maddie again, then looks away. I lost track of myself. I hurt people, though it was not what I wished to do. In the dream, I couldn't stop myself from it.
Maddie listens to Ingrid, and she frowns a little bit and more like in understanding, I guess. And kind of nods her head, listening. Yeah, dreams like those are never really that fun. I assume that's like you woke up after the fact.
I woke up after I had hurt everyone, and so fierce was this horrible feeling that I almost hurt her. She who I have never in my life raised a hand against. I do not know what came over me.
Well, at least it was just a dream, you know? Nothing actually happened. You didn't hurt anyone. Didn't hit the Spendiers either. The feelings can get like really intense, but it wasn't real. So, I mean, it helps, right?
But if it was not real, wherefore does it plague me? Madigan, this unharrowed would never hurt thee. I swear to thee that. Why? Why must we be so tormented by this figment of the imagination, if imagination it be? Can I continue fixing thy hair? Please. For a moment. I
mean, if it'll make you feel better.
think it will. Angharad leans forward and starts to fix up Maddie's hair again, and takes a deep breath, even though she kind of doesn't really need to.
Well, usually dreams like that are just your fears kind of getting to you when you're sleeping. So, I mean, it just happens sometimes, sadly. But, like, I know you wouldn't hurt me. You wouldn't hurt any of us.
There's a small flinch from Angharad. I would not want to hurt any of thee, no. I would not. I would never hurt thee, Madigan, and far be it from me to hurt any of the others. But I do fear it.
Maddie listens and kind of she's not still, but she's a little bit more stiff as she's kind of thinking. And it's, how do I word this?
I don't know. How do you word this?
I'm trying to think of how Maddie would say this. And, I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but maybe knowing could help. In case something happens, in the future, if you're that worried about hurting people. Can I ask what kind of weirdling you are?
Aang had been settling back into the comfort of fussing over someone else, which is something that does bring her a great deal of joy. And as Maddie says that, Aang's hands stop, and she looks down, and there's silence for a moment. Is that really something thou wishest to know?
I mean, it's not like something I judge or whatever. It might help if there's something you're worried about. I know I have to take certain precautions. Oh, maybe having someone else who can help. You don't have to, though.
Angharad looks away for a moment. And if I if I be no weird thing, if instead I am a foul thing, cast aside from God's kingdom, a miserable creature, what then?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a good thing you're not then, huh?
There's a long pause from Angharad. Madigan, perhaps we may speak of something else? Dost thou have a favourite song? A melody, perhaps, that brings thee comfort?
Hmm. Well, there is this one. There is this one song that's kind of. Well, you might not know it actually. So, when things get a little bit more rowdy back at camp, there's just a little song that people tend to get when they're little. I guess you wouldn't know it though, huh? I don't know. Like, what songs do you know?
Oh, quite a few. I have always been fond of music. Whatever carols would warm thy heart, I know them well. And a great deal of hymns as well.
Well, what's your favorite?
Aang pauses for a moment, considers. Thou speakest not Latin? She tilts her head.
I mean, some of the sounds are familiar, but speak it now.
Aang nods in understanding and a small amount of disappointment. It's that look of like, I don't know what I expected.
I mean,
then,
you're welcome to sing it if you want, though.
truly, thou wouldst listen, though it be not thy particular faith.
Nah, I kind of enjoy listening to things, anyways. Has anyone ever told you you have a really nice voice?
Oh.
Aw.
Aang will smile. Yes, many a moon ago, I was quite popular with the brother sisters in the choir.
Wait, you were in a choir?
Oh, it was one of many duties, but yes, for part of the time, I dwelt within the choir. For the rest, I took to my studies, but I enjoyed the choir. And the organ.
You're saying you can play instruments too?
Angharad nods. I have a fine talent for imitation, if something is beautiful.
You know, that makes a lot of sense.
Angharad seems a bit more calm, and she will start singing a Christmas carol. I wonder as I wander.
Aw. How long do you sit in the tree and listen to Aang? Do you sit there until you fall asleep, Madigan?
I mean, she's not gonna leave Aang. She's, trying to help her feel better. And if keeping her company and listening to her sing work, or is what makes her feel better, then sure. I do kind of imagine she is facing, like, the camp below, so that she can kind of keep an eye on things, make sure nothing crazy's going on. But she is more just relaxing.
Mm-hmm. It is dark, and the day has wound down. Everyone at this point has returned to camp and is going about doing the various bits and bobs of setup and tear down, or setup and like dressing down from the day. But if you sit there long enough, I imagine you'd probably get drowsy and doze off.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have to worry about falling out.
Yeah, I was gonna say. One thing though, Maddie she is a person that stays up late and sleeps in late. So.
Okay, fair enough. So you can stay up late. I'll say if you are staying up late and sleeping in late. And if anyone is doing anything else before bed, we'll kick right into, whoops, not the next day, we'll kick right into midnight. Damn it, I don't want to move a full day. There we go. 1 hour. And if there's no takers, then everyone goes their separate, or not their separate ways, but goes to their individual spots laid out at the camp and go to sleep. Though not Madigan, though Anghared and D are not, they are notably absent from the bedding down process. In one because of a Madigan, and one because of a Madigan, and the other because they just don't sleep, it would seem. But all of you rest. And as rest begins to fall gently on most of you, we will start with you, Piper.
Hello.
So, Electra, you are like blissfully asleep after having the interesting conversation with Dee about the Wizard Dark and family curses and alternative methods to dealing with a curse. How is Electra feeling as she goes to bed?
She's happy that she has a lead. That's something. A small lead is more than they've had in a while. Suspicious as well, because she's got a few things in mind as to who might be behind this. So there's that little mix.
Mm-hmm. When you say behind this, do you mean behind the family curse?
Yes.
Gotcha. Does she think of anyone in particular when she is drifting off to sleep? Does she think of maybe a family member or a comrade or anyone at all?
She hopes Sinclair is doing well. Her good friend.
Oh, interesting. So, You are blissfully asleep. And as soon as you are blissfully asleep, it seems like something has gone wrong as you are awoken in the middle of your slumber. You're not sure how much time has passed, but it is still dark. You are awoken by the sound of what sounds like a sack of potatoes getting caught on like a tight a tight yank. You hear the sound of coiling and running rope. When it jerks to a sudden stop, you can hear the rattle of branches and leaves as if something like a dead weight was dropped, and now it is only supported by thin branches. But you awake in your simple tent. What do you do first?
So I hear something like rope outside.
It sounds like a heavy weight was tied to something, or a heavy weight was tied to a tree and dropped.
Okay. So something was tied, but something is dropped. Electra would reach for her whip and whatever tools that she has nearby, like peek outside.
Mm-hmm. So you grab your whip. You you have taken off your armor to sleep, but you have your tools nearby. So you grab your
Yeah.
implements, you grab your whip, you grab a spare set of throwing knives, and you dart out of the tent to give, or not dart, but like peek. And as you peek, you don't see anything out of the ordinary. Everything looks to be the same as it was. But then in dream logic, you look around and there's no snow. The weather is cold, but the ground is dry, and the forest is quiet. And seeing nothing, there is a palpable sereneness that washes over you. Like, okay, I thought I heard something, but nothing's here. Everything is as it should be. And as you're looking around, you hear a rustling from a nearby patch of underbrush. And as you turn, what normally a sound that would kind of raise the alarm bells in your head, it doesn't for whatever reason. As almost as if you like almost as if you know that the person coming out from the underbrush will be an ally. And what would you know? Or what would you, what do you know? It is an ally, as your brother steps out from the underbrush. He is wearing his traditional, heavy leathers. He has a few elements and bags and pouches, carrying his own instruments with him. Tools. Hunting tools. But you see Cliff standing before you. And he gives you a nod. And from behind him emerges another familiar face. One who typically is with Cliff, as they are a dynamic, effective pair. From behind Cliff, you see Donna. And Cliff is a ruggedly tall, very, very muscular and angry-looking individual. And Donna is the prim and proper mirror reflection of him in a way. She is equipped, fastened with bullets and additional ammo pouches and powder ampules so that she can craft bullets if the need arises and she somehow runs out. But she wears blue, and like a soft blue at that. And she steps out. Neither of them look particularly happy, but they regard you with like the camaraderie sort of like, you're right where we expected to find you. And as they both step out, they stand shoulder to shoulder. And Cliff will like nod and beckon for you to come out of the tent and say, "We've been looking for you. Come on out. We need your help." What do you do? Oh. Mm-hmm.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Oh. Yes.
Okay. So she'll blink and like a bit, okay. She goes and like grabs like whatever cloak that she needs and like puts it around her. What are you two doing here? I thought you were off on a hunt.
Donna speaks up. We were off on a hunt, and we've come to find you. Things have gotten worse in Termark since you left. Fortunately, it seems we're needed to help with this task, to help see this task to completion. And Cliff speaks up next to say, and we believe you're harboring some less than human help.
Oh, yeah. She kind of just like looks around. She doesn't see anybody else, right? It's just these two.
Correct. The camp is it has the tent, the tents and everything are there, but the camp is otherwise empty.
Well, everybody's supposed to be here. Did they leave me for whatever reason? But why would they not take the tents with them? Eldritch kind of like moves over to where like Maddie's tent would be and just kind of like looks into it to see there is in fact not a wolfkin there.
Yeah, you go over and peer into the tent. It's desolate.
Yeah. Well, the people I were with were here. I don't claim to know what happened to them.
Cliff
I usually
nods.
be the first to wake up.
He nods and he looks to Donna. Donna nods and will ready a weapon, like hold a gun as in the firing position, and she is going to start searching the perimeter. And Cliff will look to you, Electra, and say, "Get your things, pack your bags.
Right.
We have work to do."
All right. Electra will quickly just go and do that. Like, so, what are we hunting exactly?
You pack remarkably quickly. Yeah. Almost dreamlike quickly.
Dreamlike quickly, yeah.
And you bring your bags back out and you ask Cliff this, and Cliff says, "We're hunting some thing. It looks like a child, but it isn't." And
that's what I happen to be hunting as well.
He nods, and Donna returns from her patrol. And she looks at you both and says, "If you're both ready, we can leave now. Maybe we can catch up to the beasts. They haven't gotten far from what I can tell." Do you head off?
Yeah.
Okay. You head off in pursuit of the beasts. So roll me a survival check.
Okay. Crafting, no. Spoken, no. No. Feats, no. Proficiencies. Nope.
Okay. So you are hustling through the woods, and initially you're walking. Your brother and sister are walking, and they're not warm to you. They are very business-like, kind of cold. Even for their standards, it's very like, oh, I guess they're preoccupied with the hunt. But that's okay. You have the hunt to focus on. It's important. They're on a mission. It makes sense. But it does well, I imagine it stings a little bit as they are walking ahead and starting to move quicker and quicker. Not sprinting, but they are moving quite quickly through the woods. In this moment, what is Electra feeling?
She's very content to be amongst family. It's a huge relief compared to the chaos the group is.
Okay. So as you are heading through the woods, would you rather find one of the members of the group, D, or the child?
Dreams being dreams. Dreams been given an objective of find the child, so Electra's thinking, okay, let's find this child. So that's where dream logic would have led her.
Okay. So as you are hustling through the woods, you find a patch of thicket that you cross through. And as you cross through it, you and your brother and your sister all see at the same time D, bloody and not wounded, but covered in the gore of something. And it's not actually D in the skin that you saw them last. It's Dee Dee, the female Dee Dee you had met. And you don't see any bodies. But roll me a perception check.
Okay. Perception. Where's perception?
It's on the side of the sheet, like to the left.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Roll.
A 16 to a 22. Okay, so you enter this clearing and you see Dee Dee with her blonde hair, the skin, rather than being degraded and loose, you see a actually put together Dee Dee. What you imagine Dee Dee would have looked like in her prime or at her most fresh with that skin. It's weird and uncomfortable to say, but you see her standing there in the blue dress that she had before, covered in viscera from something, from someone. Though you see no bodies, you do see monikers. You see a hammer, a top hat, a jacket, leather boots, a cross. Monikers from the group you were traveling with. Covered in blood and death. What do you do?
And Dee Dee's wearing all of them?
No, they're just scattered. The
Oh, they're just
different
scattered
items.
around. Okay.
Yeah, they're just scattered on the ground in the blood and gore.
Well, I dare say there's the help that you were looking for, Cliff.
Cliff doesn't respond. He simply readies a weapon, as does Donna. They seem to be waiting on your signal.
Let's begin.
Okay. You fight. Roll me an attack roll.
Attack roll. Combat. Combat? No, that's spellcasting. Why is the weapon button spellcasting? Actions? Click. No? How do I roll just an attack on this sheet? Would I... Is that... Did I do that?
Strike.
I think I did it.
Action strike, maybe?
Hey, there you go. So, with a natural 20, how do you and your family take down Dee Dee?
So Donna provides suppressing fire, and with Electra and Cliff, Electra takes a more combat support role, so she sort of like uses the whip to trip Dee Dee up and like wrap the whip around her neck so Cliff can just get a straight in like headshot basically.
Yes, and with these sort of tactics, you are all easily able to outmaneuver and outflank Dee Dee. They pin Dee Dee. Dee Dee is an intelligent creature. They're going to inquire about what happened. Or they're going to let you inquire. If you choose. Do you want to ask Dee Dee anything?
Do you want to explain what happened here before you meet your end?
Cliff pinning Dee Dee's arms behind her back, and Donna holding a weapon, holding a gun to Dee Dee's head. Were she to twitch, it would just instantly be over for her. And though she is pinned and bloody and bruised, now covered in both your friend's gore and her own, she looks up and smiles. And she just says, "Well, it was inevitable." Really?
Oh, what was inevitable?
Oh. Well, it was, you know, me having my fill. Some people just can't change. And she smiles at you.
Clearly not. Killer.
And Donna does. At the sound of the gunshot, you suddenly find yourself hiking again. You have rested and cleaned yourself up. You and Cliff and Donna are well a ways from where you had killed the haint, Dee Dee. Done what seemingly Hawk had refused to do or had couldn't do for whatever reason. It's unknown. But that's in the past. You've moved on. You are hiking up and through, and you come to another clearing, though one that looks suspiciously similar to the one you thought you had left far, far in the back. Far, far in the past. As you push into this clearing, you see a simple young woman. Or young girl, not young woman, young girl. She is maybe 9, 10 at most. Roll me a hunting lore check. You should have hunting lore.
I should have hunting lore. Let's see. Lore skills, hunting lore. Roll.
18. So, with an 18, this is this girl, whomever this girl is, you've never met her, but she seems eerily familiar. And it takes you a second. And you realize this both in the dream sense and out of the dream sense. You realize that this little girl is your mother.
Okay.
It is your mother when she was 8, 9 years old. You can even parse some of the features that you inherited from her. And she looks sad. As you regard her and kind of ponder over why she is here and why she is... why, really, just generally why, Donna and Cliff march past you and get on either side of her. And they look at you. And they're waiting for your orders.
What do you mean, orders? The fuck do you want me to do here? Electra just kind of walks over and since her mother's like 9 apparently, she'll like get on her knee to like look her in the eye. She'll be like, "What are you doing here?"
She looks at you and just shakes her head, confused. She doesn't understand she doesn't understand.
You don't know why you're here.
From beside you, you hear Cliff say, "We're here to catch a monster." And Donna finishes the thought. "It just happens to look like a child."
But this is our mother, isn't she?
Your mother looks at you and is terrified. Donna and Cliff do not seem moved by this. Cliff says, "Are you going to help us hunt or not?" Donna speaks up. "You know that it's the only way to get rid of this damned curse."
Wait, what? The mother's the source of our curse? What? When did you learn this?
Neither of them reply to that. They simply await your orders.
I 100% believe this is my mother, right?
Yes. Unquestionably. This is not a monster. This is a child form of your mom.
We don't hunt humans. We hunt them. Those fucking things. And we don't know that she's the source of the curse.
Cliff reaches down, and you watch his hand. He does not grab the child. He reaches down in the same way that you would like lift something off of a child's face. Like you kind of grab something and if you were to get like a piece of lint off of their chin or wipe a stain off of their mouth, he reaches a hand down. And for a moment, it obscures your mother's face. And he grabs onto something, some handle or some piece of purchase or something. And he pulls. And as he pulls, you hear what sounds like the tearing of paper.
Ugh.
And it's not viscera or gore. You hear the sound of paper being ripped, and as you look, it is like a parsed a piece of reality has been sheared and laid bare for you now, as if looking through a tear in reality. You can see that beneath the human exterior of this child of your mother, or this child form of your mother, underneath that exterior is something green, something inhuman, distinctly non-human.
The hell is that?
Donna raises her weapon. What do you do?
So they're not answering her demand for an explanation.
Correct.
If it's clearly inhuman, Electra would let it happen.
Do you want to give the order, or do you want to roll the d20?
I would like to roll a d20, please, because I don't know what to say to
let
this.
me clarify. You're
Okay.
not rolling a d20 randomly. It is give the order or roll to attack.
I don't know. They're both her family, so she can't. Could I instead step in the way?
In this moment in your dream, your physical capabilities are restrained in the same. It feels like you are slogging through butter. Save for the movement of going for your weapon, you feel that were you to try and dive in the way of a bullet, you wouldn't make it in time.
I mean, she feels a stronger tie to her siblings, so she'd give the order, I suppose. She's not happy about it.
You give the order. There is a flash, and you find yourself somewhere else. Time has passed. You have dealt with the unusual child that you were hunting. You've dealt with the haint in the woods. You're back in Termarkt. You're walking through the streets. Your family, they are on a separate hunt. You, however, are wearing the garb of someone more official. You look down and you can see that your attire, what is your traditional familial hunting gear, has vestments similar to a priesthood of some kind, or religious vestments. And you can see that on it there is, in Latin, and you can parse this immediately. You can see a blessing written in Latin to the Valentine family. A blessing a blessing of protection. Keep them safe on the hunt for the monsters that we cannot see. And as you are walking through the streets of Termark, you sort of have this moment where you kind of wake up and realize, like, oh, I'm here now. And you look around, you aren't older, but there is a distinct, like, height difference, as if you have, like, more vertical height and more power. And you know where you're walking. You're walking to go meet Madigan. You need to talk to Madigan for something. But she's in the city. She's not in the hunter's camp. Do you go to Madigan?
If Dream Me is telling me to go to Madigan, then I will go to Madigan.
You walk to Madigan. And as you do, you find that you are unerringly veering towards what would be, if you were looking at the city map, the courtyard area in the southwest. This area that the church has, in the past, used for demonstrations of various kinds. This is also where big public gatherings are hosted, and festivals, and small markets. It is a large community space. It is for the people. It is a place for everyone to commiserate and cooperate. And as you are marching there, you look left and right, and you see around you the church and the city watch have changed. They're more official. And there is an air about them of true, genuine authority. And it doesn't seem too off. It's almost like it makes sense. And there's a part of you that in the back of your mind kind of saw this coming. Like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. I'm a hunter. And I may have gotten this blessing from the church, but I'm not part of the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so you push it out of your mind. And as you get to that courtyard area, you can see that the hunters' camp, or at least a good portion of the hunters, have moved into the space, intermingled with members of the church, specifically members of the Inquisition. And all of this still has that ring of, that makes sense. The hunters have to fight the monsters. And the Inquisition, they go about it in a bizarre way, but they have the same or similar goals. So it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you walk and you see the red armored guards in heavy, like, broad, pointed red armor with seals and blessings pinned and tailored to their armor. Similar to yours, though though yours is obviously not bulky. And as you walk through, you notice that other hunters wear similar vestments to you. Though not as ornate, yours are clearly nicer. Other hunters have similar blessings. Typically, hunters wear leather, though most of the leather you see on the hunters in this courtyard, most of it is red, or dyed red. As you are walking through the courtyard, you see there are a few people you recognize who are hunters, but they're not wearing red leathers. In fact, they're not wearing any armor. They're in their civilian clothing. And what's your intelligence?
My intelligence is character sheet stats +1.
+1. What's your wisdom?
+0.
+0. Gotcha. So as you're walking through, and you see some of these hunters with armor and some who you know were hunters, not in armor but in clothing, you are smart enough to piece together that all of the hunters who are not in armor, all of the ones who are wearing just standard civilian clothing, are weirdlings. And you slow to a stop and spin around. You can roll me a perception check if you like.
I would love to roll a perception check. Oh wait, it's over here.
"23. So you turn and give a good look around the courtyard, which you are standing not quite in the center of, but well into. And as you turn and look around, you see that the Inquisition and the Hunters, they're working together. And they have rounded up all the weirdlings. Weirdlings that you knew were hunters. Some of whom you know by name. And they have taken them prisoner. They are escorting them somewhere. What do you do?
I'm gonna stop the Inquisitor, obviously.
Inquisitors. There are dozens of them.
That's okay. I will still stop them.
You run up to an Inquisitor and you, try to harry them to get their attention. They don't seem moved by your cries for attention. They continue to march, and almost in deference to the hunters they are working with, the one in the hunters in red leathers, they are almost, if not entirely, deferential to their expertise in the matter, in handling the weirdlings. You go to try and harry another one, and just before you do, you notice, out of the corner of your eye, Madigan in a stockade, bound with hands beside her head in iron-clasped wood. She's not dead. What do you do?
I'll go over to her and ask what the hell's going on.
When you go over to Madigan, you call out to her, and as you do, she doesn't respond. You can see now that you are closer, her lips are cracked and dry. She looks exhausted, as if she hasn't been able to sleep, but also may have just fallen into unconsciousness. She is withered. Maddie is a big person. You know this. Madigan is a stocky kind of girl. And looking at this person in the stockade, bound by hands and neck, it is alarming how much weight she has lost and how withered she looks. You are not the pinnacle of strength, though you are not a slouch in any regard. Looking at her, you feel like you could snap her arm with one hand. He is so withered. But she doesn't respond as you reach out to her and try to get her attention. Beside you, you feel a presence. At first, you feel like it's an Inquisitor, but you turn and you see it is a hunter dressed in red leathers, standing tall and proud. it's Sinclair. Hello, Electra. Can I help you with something?
What the hell's going around here, Sinclair? Why are all the weirdlings being rounded up?
Well, I figured you would be aware of this. This was a long time coming, but we're finally taking control of the situation. Monsters and all that. He gestures to Madigan.
Sinclair, I've told you 1,000 times. They're mostly human. It's not their fault they have a little bit of monstrosity in them.
He nods and just goes, "Oh, I know it. Believe me, it pains me to do it, but unfortunately, they're not all human. Just mostly human." So, as the orders have come down, I am bound by my duty as a hunter to keep humanity safe. Humanity above all else.
They are human still, Sinclair. Let her go.
He looks at the withered Madigan, and he will take... his hands are bound in leather gloves. And he'll reach a hand out and just kind of with one index finger, like, quickly poke one of Madigan's ears. He's like, "Doesn't look very human to me."
They can still feel and think just like every other human. They're not like those monsters, those fae, those demons. They still have a human heart. Madigan's done more for them than perhaps even you.
He kind of regards this for a moment, and kind of nods his head. Like, "You make a compelling point. They were useful tools, especially for hunters. They were strong and fast and ferocious. It's a shame that, again, we have to protect humanity. And this is a high cost to pay. Make no mistake, I'm not happy doing this. But
You're a liar, Sinclair.
he... roll me an intimidation check.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know this man was racist as fuck. He ain't getting away with this. Intimidation. Intimidation. I have good charisma. Charisma's my stat. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Natural 20. Okay. So with a nat 20 for a 27, Sinclair, he pulls his hand back and puts it behind his back. And he nods, and he doesn't look you in the eye. And you can tell by his mannerisms that he is very much, like, haughtily offended. But he is also not going to say anything. He just looks at you and nods and just goes, "If you'd like to keep this one as a pet, you may." He will start to turn. Oh. You're back.
Okay.
Yeah. So he says, "If you'd like to keep this one as a pet, you may. I won't stop you." Turns and starts to walk away. Do you go for Maddie, or do you go for Sinclair?
Well, I'm gonna rescue Matt.
Your audio cut for a second, but I did hear you were going to say you're going to go for Maddie. Are you still there?
Maddie. Yeah.
Okay, Maddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you quickly go for the lock. The lock is solid, but you're a competent person. You might have a key in your pocket. This is dream logic, of course. You start fumbling, trying to find the key to the lock, and As you're fumbling for it, you feel another presence behind you. And as you turn to see who it is, you see Donna and Cliff. What are you doing, Electra?
I'm rescuing a friend.
Is she really a friend? Or is she more of just, well, a useful thing?
Just because she has a bit of animal blood in her, she's still human. Just like all of these other people.
Cliff steps forward and will take a knee, and he'll put a hand over yours on the lock. And the gesture, especially for Cliff, is surprisingly soft and almost tender in like a caring sibling way. And Donna will squat down beside you both to match height. And Cliff says, I know she means a lot to you. We lost a lot of associates. And, well, we don't blame you for getting attached to this one. Donna says, but you know that it is the only way to get rid of the curse. There is no other option.
That's not true at all. Even I know that Madigan had nothing to do with this. We're hunting for the one thing that actually caused this.
Cliff narrows his eyes and says, the one thing they all share is their monster blood. The beastly taint. It is them versus us.
No, it's us versus the actual monsters. These people are human. In fact, I imagine eventually we're all going to be like them. Us humans as we are, we're drifting away, Cliff. I imagine another generation we're all going to be wildlings in some way, shape, or form. What matters is that they're human. They're not fae, they're not demons. We can understand these people. Unlike fae, we can't understand what's going on in their minds, but we can understand these people, who are still human at heart.
Cliff looks down at Maddie, and he stands up, and Donna stands up as well. They both look at you, and there is a sorrowful look in their eyes. And Cliff says, We cannot understand monsters. Fae, animal, demon, fiend, what have you. All of them are inhuman, and their inhumanity spreads thick like a poison in the stream. But if you are so keen, keep this around. And he gestures to Madigan. Then, well, roll me a reflex save. "22. Electra, you are a hair too slow, but you are fast enough to see as as Cliff takes a step back.
Cliff!
And not Clint.
Not dynamite.
Cliff takes a step back, and he looks sorrowful. But the sorrow is not directed towards Madigan, nor towards any other weirdling. It is like pity, almost, and it's directed at you. And he looks to Donna and nods. And in slow motion, you watch Donna reach for a gun, draw it, pull back the hammer, and fire at Madigan. And then there is a flash. You are, again, in Termarked. Time has passed. You are no longer a hunter. You are no longer sanctioned by the church, though the church has not loosened their grip. The city is finally without monster blood. There's no beasts or weirdlings, but it's not free of taint just yet. You seclude yourself in the family estate. Your brother and sister have taken it upon themselves to do you the kindness to go out and find this monstrous blood in the world and purge it so that they can free themselves from the family curse and free you as well, though they regard you as a little bit grateful for doing so. Roll me a perception check.
Hmm.
18. You turn around. You are in a dark, shadowy version of your family hall, the Valentine estate. It has aged, it has lost a bit of its luster. The curtains are drawn. Despite it being day, it is shadowy and dark, and cobwebs grow in the corners. What prestige there was, at least for you and in your eyes, has faded a bit. What is Electra feeling now?
Just kind of numb to everything right now, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. You find yourself sitting in what is a sitting room, like a smoking area, where there's a bookshelf, a large chair, a candle to read by. You blink and refocus your eyes, and you see there are portraits hung along the walls. You see the steady growth of the Valentine family. Your father, your mother, then your siblings, first as children, then as young adults, having only just started their hunter training, and then as full-grown adults. And then again a little bit after that, when the church, and when the church had influenced them, and when they had taken up arms in service of their ultimate goal. And then another picture, though this one is without you. And then a portrait beside that one. And it is just you, standing there alone, civilian clothing, looking tired. Out of the corner of your eye, you see blurry photographs and paintings of things that are macabre, to say the least. Things that celebrate the hanging of secret witches. Newspaper clippings that celebrate the end of weirdlings. Framed and mounted horns. And as you are sitting there, feeling numb to it all, looking back, you hear a knock at the door.
I'll go
Do you get
answer.
up? Okay.
Yeah.
You get up to go answer it. And when the door opens, it's Sinclair and a sizable group of Inquisitors in similar armor to the Hunters. Sinclair looks distraught, but not deterred. I'm sorry, Electra, but, well, we have to contain the spread. He takes a step to the side, and you can see one of the Inquisitors bears manacles. If you come with us, it would make this easier.
The spread of what exactly, Sinclair? You know full well I'm human.
He nods. You are human looking, but your sister, not Donna, bless her soul, lady, unfortunately, she has been marked by something. And so, your family line must be dealt with, I'm afraid. It's not personal.
You're a terrible liar, Sinclair.
He nods, and he smiles, and it is a crooked and broken smile. I know. And the Inquisitors rush through the door. Try as you might to fight back. There are too many, and you are too few. Your friends are gone. Your family are gone. And there is nothing left but what the church decides should stay. And as you are forced into manacles and piled on by Inquisitors, the last little reach of light is snuffed out from your vision. And you wake up in a flash. The air is cold. Wintry, even. You're in your tent.
She'll kind of just sit up and look around. God damn
Angharad,
it.
Yes.
roll me a perception check.
Certainly. Jesus dice initiate. Alright, let's see if that's a 6 or a 9. Okay, that is a 6, I'm gonna believe. Yeah, that's a 6. And Aang's mod is 7, so 13.
13. Electra, are you being particularly quiet as you wake up? I will leave this up to you.
You can hear. You can hear.
Yeah, Aang, you are up in the tree, and it has been quiet for a bit now. Madigan is asleep on the branch with you, kind of propped up on your shoulder, drooling a little bit on your arm. And you hear the sudden, suck in of breath of someone waking up. Though you've been diligently watching, and there has been no hidden foe that has snuck up on anyone.
Aang, at this point, knows that Maddie's a heavy sleeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aang will very gently lay Maddie against the trunk of the tree. And she doesn't have a blanket. Why would she need one? But if she did have a blanket, she would tuck her in. Unfortunately, however, there is no blanket to be had. And Aang will descend from the tree very quietly, single jump, and move cautiously over toward Electra. Does something trouble thy mind?
Well, nightmares are common with my line of work. Today just happened to be a rather nasty one.
There's a quiet nod. This Angharad has weathered something similar today. A tragedy, and an awful one. But Mardigan says that it is helpful to talk about it, if that is not thy wish. Perhaps thou wouldst hear a song.
Want something to drink? That's not quite Paige's level of alcohol expertise, but I do have some wine on hand.
Ah, wine. Yes, I do like wine.
Yeah, come on in. Better than the cold.
Angharad says nothing to that, but will quietly sit next to Electra a little too stiffly.
Electra just quietly, grabs her flask and, pours some of it into a small glass and, hands it to her.
Aang will say grace.
Ew, please not right now.
Say grace over a single glass of wine.
This is like a meal for her. What do you want?
Oh, that's funny. Sorry.
She starts saying grace, and then Electra says that, and she stops. Oh. Art thou also not fond of spiritual matters?
It's not that I'm not fond of spiritual matters. I'm not fond of what spiritual matters have become in this world.
And Angharad says nothing but tilts her head.
You ask me, like, this whole thing with the Bible and stuff. I don't think it should have been so tightly adhered to as fact, you know?
Angharad says nothing to this, but listens. there's cogs turning behind her head, but she's definitely listening to you, and she is leaning forward to evince this, but she is quiet for now.
Yeah, okay, so she's not stopped, she's gonna continue on. She's like, well,
Mhm.
I think more the Bible is a set of lessons rather than a history book. You know, love thy neighbor and stuff like that, that's all well and good, but I find it hard to believe that, you know, if somebody, you know, rose from the dead or turned thousands of gallons of water into wine or made bread endlessly multiply, that, you know, the lessons are good enough.
Be it that difficult to believe that from the cold coffers of death one may still arise in a world like this?
In a world like this, I'd be more willing to believe it, but back before when that damn book was written, there wasn't anything like that. You know, stories were stories.
Angharad will has Electra sipped from her wine yet?
Yes, she will sip from her
Okay.
wine.
Then Angharad will sip, but only after Electra does. And it's like it's a very notable, like she was holding on to it, and then Electra sips, and then Aang immediately sip. And she goes, but this world and that world, they were one and the same once, were they not?
Well, I would suppose they would have to be at some point for all those stories to become clear, or for us to have the stories, right? Although to
Okay.
what extent I can't claim. Maybe these were fantasies and whatever magic came out made them reality. Or maybe they were always like this, and we just couldn't see them.
Angharad will nod very sagely at this. Mankind have need of stories. Stories have need of mankind. Sip. Electra.
Hmm?
What is thy favourite parable?
You
So-
mean from the Bible?
So it's worth noting. It's worth noting that the Bible, as we understand it in reality, there aren't many, if any, copies that are flippantly around and tear marked, especially after the Order of the Newly Risen had come into place.
Okay.
They very tightly control the way that the concept of the monotheistic God is portrayed. They avoid using any names from the New or Old Testament, any explicit names of people or places. They do not share passages of the Bible that they are gleaning from. They merely share quote unquote lessons or their own parables. They have done a lot to obfuscate the past. So it would not be. It would actually be more accurate and appropriate to say, like, what's your favorite parable? And be like, I've never read the Bible. I don't know.
Okay. No, I don't think I've actually read the book.
This is a look of just pure sorrow on Aang's face. And then A nod. Art thou curious?
I admit I'd like to read it at some point, just so I can understand where all these idiots are coming from.
And Herod tilts her head again. Am I an idiot?
I don't know what you are yet, truth be told. I know very little about you.
Aang will softly smile. Ah, but the Sangharat is not the important thing. And from her pack, she will pull out a actual Bible.
This is like someone casually pulling out a copy of the Declaration of Independence. That is like
She blinks.
that is a fucking treasured relic that the church would be ferocious to get out of her hands.
You know, if somebody other than me saw you this, they might likely kill you for that book alone, yes?
And Herod just... There's a look of confusion on her face. And she frowns. Well, I fear not death. And if it were my decision, I would give many others wide berth. But if thou art curious, and in need of comfort, I shall lend thee this for the night.
Alright, I'll read what I can. I'm by no means a fast reader, but... How long have you been interacting with humans at this rate?
Let me roll something here.
Okay.
Roll a... Does she catch on to the trap? Or is she too lost in the, oh yay, somebody else cares about my special interest? Aang is too happy that somebody has agreed to indulge her.
To be fair, no trap intended, so...
Yes. Let me just check something here. Because I don't want to misspeak. Let's see. The question was, how long have you been among humans, right?
Yeah.
I dwelt among others for a span of 2 years.
Only 2 years, huh?
The first year was very pleasant.
Is that around when you met Hawk?
And Herod will blink. Just very blatantly blink. What dost thou... And she's, like, stammering and looking away. Because she can't lie. But she is surprised.
There's something the matter. Just asking you a question.
She will take a breath. No. I dwelt among the people after that.
Oh, I see. What led you away from your home, or what was your home in that case?
There's a pause. May we perhaps speak of something else? I fear I've weathered my own nightmare, the day. And
That's fair enough.
Sip.
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 Sip. Sip.
Silent sip.
And you two enjoy each other's company for a time until, at some later point, Electra, you feel you can return to sleep. And after both of you have drinking enough water to not wake up with a hangover. It's very important, PSA. But after, or in that interim, just about after you feel like you can fall back asleep and rest, Amy, high or low?
Hi?
Okay. Paige.
What? Low.
It's too late. I've already rolled.
Fuck.
Paige, if Paige had a dream that made her happy, or a place that made her happy she saw in her dreams, what would the dream be, or where would it be?
As in, like, a real life kind of situation? Of if you're dreaming about real life, or are you asking for, like, ultimate Paige hyper interest happy land? Or do you mean, like, in real life, what would she dream about? Happy place. Like,
Happy Land. Why not like the most like over the top Paige happy air like dream she could have?
give me a second. I'm pulling up the Pinterest board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I imagine in this, if you want to go, like, over the fucking top, outside of the realm of reality completely,
Mm-hmm.
the Happy Land would be a mix of crowded city streets in Terramar around, like, essentially the area around the tavern. Shut the. Why is my phone going off now? Fuck off. Essentially that, like, area surrounding the tavern, a few streets, what was effectively her playground as a kid. Just if it was just like copy and pasted, just right smack dab in the middle of a meadow.
The middle of a meadow.
Yeah. And the sun is shining, sky is blue and clear, bright white fluffy clouds in the sky. The trees are vibrant and green, and there are so many flowers along the edges. And on the edges of, like, the city where it meets the meadow, there's, like, this seamless transition of grass to cobblestone with plants, like, reaching in a very, like, nice way that doesn't, like, destroy houses at all. It, like, mingles very well with people's, like, gardens and their, like, porch plants that, like, lead to it. There's a lot of wildlife around. There's a lot of cute, like, butterflies and obviously fucking bunnies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All over the meadow. And I imagine Paige at her purest, happiest is in the center of this. In a little area. Not like the quote unquote courtyard of the city, but no, that little section, that little ward's like quote unquote mini courtyard. A yard, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where they've set up a little shitty little stage, which is more so just a couple of crates pushed together. And Paige is in her favorite performing outfit with her traditional top hat and cane, her little cape. And imagine she just finished a show for all of the children in the area. And She is currently bowing down as they all are like clapping and cheering, and she is passing out like sweet treats and candies and stuff to them as a thank you for, coming. And I imagine
Okay.
the audience is like young kids, so it's very big, happy, fun times for Paige.
Perfect. So I want to rewind a bit. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit more than I already
Okay.
have. So
Okay.
at the height of this dream, Paige is
Uh-huh.
performing in like a like picturesque oil painting version of Termark that is bright and sunshiny and happy and welcoming. When Paige goes on stage, when she first walks on stage, what is her stage entrance like? Are there fireworks? Are people like roaring with applause?
I imagine that Paige takes this incredibly fucking seriously. She pulls out the fucking works. If this Happy Land can have fireworks, there would be. For this like gaggle of like 9, 6 to 8 year olds.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking
Mm-hmm.
all the fucking showmanship.
So in this dream you are having, Paige, you run out onto your backstage with Pierre. Everything is set up. You have all of it ready to go off without a hitch. You rush out onto stage, or well, you're about to rush out onto stage, and Pierre gives you the countdown of like, un, deux, trois, and points, and then you start heading up the stairs, running out onto the stage. There are not like full blown Disney Fourth of July fireworks style fireworks, but there are little like pop streamers that like poof and shoot little like pieces of paper out into the crowd. The crowd, mind you, is sizable. There are of course, strong gaggle of children up at the front who are ecstatic to see you. But you're in Termarkt, and it is a magic show. So, of course, you have a couple of longtime returning fans, and strangely enough, you have your family. You have your mom, and your dad, and your auntie, and your cousin. And you see not far away from her cousin, Riley, standing beside Edgar. You see a bunch of familiar faces. You even see some new faces who you are acquainted with now better, but otherwise they were basically new before this. You see Willow, and you see Vincent, and Madigan, and Electra, and even Anghared. Like, all of these people in the crowd, ready to watch you perform. Roll me a will save.
What the fuck?
Don't worry, this is easy.
Okay. I'm just gonna be I should probably open up my fucking sheet. That'd be nice. That's gonna be a 17 plus 7.
A 24. So with a roll that high, you are easily not deterred. Like, stage fright means nothing to you. Who would get afraid on a stage? Like, this is where you belong, and it is like one of the most invigorating places to be. You are in the zone, like excited to be here, and you kick off your little show with gusto. Do you have a trick you would like to describe that Paige does? If you don't, that's totally fine. This is a hard spot call.
I got this. It's fine. She'd use her favorite assistant. I imagine it's the classic Paige and Pierre patter where they're arguing about who is the magician, who is the assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine that for this, she is going to make Pierre disappear in a wardrobe. It's a
Okay.
classic.
Okay. So, hold on. I want to find some slightly more energetic music. Something a bit more triumphant. You have Pierre take the stage. And his outfit, of course, looks dashing. His suit is fitted. He looks like a very charming person. And he'll run out on stage. You easily wow the crowd with making him disappear. Roll me a performance check.
Okie doke. That is going to be a... Where the fuck is my performance? I rolled a fuck, which is a 1.
You rolled a nat 1?
I rolled a nat 1.
Okay, for a second, when you said I rolled a fuck, I was like, what?
I rolled because
Okay.
that's what it is on the die. It's fuck.
Perfect. So
It's gonna be a 9 total though, if that fucking helps.
So you
You're welcome, I
wave-
guess.
You wave your hands.
Oh, shit.
How does the disappearing look? Sailor, I am narrating here.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me make sure I'm not about to die.
Joe, is Aang
What's
wearing
up?
her thunder shirt?
Aang does not have a thunder shirt.
Are you sure?
Oh my god.
Affectionate and with great appreciation for your setting.
If you can find the stats for a thunder shirt in PF2, I will consider giving her a thunder shirt. Hello.
Hi.
Okay. So you go to make Pierre disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Describe to me how the disappearing would look.
So I imagine what they're trying to do is the classic, go into a little wardrobe that I imagine is what they quote-unquote have as their storage. It's a prop specifically for this trick, but they make it look like it's storage for their magic gear. And it's probably, them arguing back and forth, and Pierre steps in to grab something, and then Paige closes it behind him, kind of like giggles as if she did something mean. And then audience of like, yeah, should I let him out? Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I ran up and down the stairs.
You're okay.
I need to work out more, man. And she like, okay, opens it up to let him out to be nice, and oh, he's not there. Because, trick shit. There's a little opening on the back where there's a secret part that he slips into.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you open... So where do you make Pierre reappear at? Or do you make him reappear?
I imagine that for this trick, it's Dreamland, right? They can have the stage however the fuck they want. There's a little hatch in the stage that he goes down, and it's a classic cliche. He reappears in the audience, and after she lets it out, and there's like a gasp of like, where is he? He jokingly heckles her. That's the trick, that's the setup. He reappears in the audience, heckling her for shutting it on him.
Okay. So you make him vanish from the box, fall through the stage, and end up back in the crowd. And the heckling is a little delayed. And at first you're like, he's supposed to start like fake jeering now, but he hasn't done it yet. And then you look over through the stage, and you see him looking a little bit like, I want to say lost. Just kind of like, what? And you're not sure what the deal is, but you wave to him to get his attention. You can, if you want to make this subtle, roll me a deception check.
Okay, doke. It's going to be a 22.
22. Okay. So with the 22, you manage to wave very surreptitiously, or is it surreptitiously? Subtly. You manage to wave subtly enough that it gets his attention, and he blinks, and it looks like he kind of forgot where he was for a second, and just nods and just goes, and he looks around, realizes there's a show going on, and just goes, oh, and then starts clapping, and then points at you, and the audience, like, there's a little bit of confusion because they're like, wait, clapping? Are we clapping? And then a couple people just start prematurely, and they're like, oh, and then they all look and they see him, and then they look at the box, and then the realization, oh my god, it hits them all at once, and they're like, oh my god, he fucking disappeared and reappeared in the crowd, and so people start cheering. On to the next trick. Roll me a performance check.
Not another one, please. That'd be nice. I'd like it to be good at this. That's going to be a 23.
23. What is the next trick you do?
The next trick is, I mean, it's got to be a card trick. No,
Of course.
It's got to be. She's going to volunteer from the audience to pick a card, any card.
Audience member picks a card.
Imagine the trick here is that she sleight of hands it to Pierre, because I imagine after they pick their card, he tries to quote unquote take over to show her how to do it, and she kind of like bats him away of like, no, this is my trick. And in that, she slipped it into his jacket. This is planned. And after it's revealed, and she's got the wrong card at the end of the trick, and it's supposed to be that Pierre is like, oh, is it this one? And that's the oh shit applause moment.
Okay, the oh shit applause moment hits, and roll me another performance check.
Okay.
To see how the joke or how the trick lands.
It's going to be a 15.
Yeah, so with a 15, the crowd initially again is like, whoa, oh, and then they put two and two together, and Pierre is like doing his best to sell it. He's not nearly as charismatic as you, but he is doing his level best, and it's going off pretty well. This is a good show. This is a big show, but it is going super well. The next thing you do, you move on to your next trick, and then the trick after, and then the trick after, and each successive trick you do, the crowd steadily grows more and more excited, and also grows a little bit bigger. You, at some point, look back after you are on to your maybe 5th or 6th trick, and the crowd has doubled in size. You can still make out your friends, but there's a lot of other people here too, like a lot. This is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, show you've done as of yet. And is it starting to unnerve you? You think? How does Paige feel right now?
I think it would start to unnerve her, especially if it's like not planned.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like doing a trick, every trick she does, the crowd gets larger. It would start to get to her of she's a professional. This is what she lives for. This is what she breathes for. Okay, here you go. Why is it during my scene you want my attention? I feel like it would start to get to her the more and more people that show up when she's not expecting it. Every time she turns back to the crowd, the expectation of, what if I mess up? Oh no.
That pressure starts to build in you, and you start to feel that anxiety rising because it's a lot of people. Roll me a perception check.
Nat 20! The
Natural
bunny!
20.
Nat
So
20. That's gonna. It doesn't
you
matter.
it does matter. It does matter. The what?
I can't find my perception modifier on my sheet.
On the left.
Oh, 27.
27. Okay. So, with a 27, you look out into the crowd, and it is a nat 20, so it's even better than what you would have gotten normally. But you look out into the crowd, and you immediately notice two things. You are first off, you're a pretty familiar person about town, and you're not the best with remembering everyone's faces perfectly, but generally speaking, you recognize people and you're like, oh, okay, I've seen him at one or two shows. I've never seen them before, but I've seen them around town. Like, you're kind of good with that. You notice two people in the back, one of whom is the Archbishop Morgan, and standing beside him is an attendant of some kind, an inquisitor. And you know this. You know it in the pit of your stomach. Though they don't look like an inquisitor. They look different. Let me see if I can find their picture. You see, standing beside them, a figure in a white mask with messy blonde hair standing in official enough looking church attire. This is not the typical garb of an inquisitor, but you see them nonetheless. They look like this.
Oh, that's nice. That's
As
very friendly.
you see them, you feel a little nervous. You've never seen them before, and well, you can't really tell. You can't be sure they're wearing a mask. But more importantly, with the 27, with a natural 20, you see another person, a person who doesn't raise your anxiety in the same way that seeing a member of the clergy would, but you see a man with a shock of orange hair, and this person stands out. Like, orange hair is uncommon. And this person gives you a bright smile. And they look like this.
And she's never seen him before?
Never in your life. You have never seen him before. And he has amber yellow eyes looking piercingly straight at you. Almost like he's able to see straight through you. And there's something disconcerting about the way he looks at you. Almost like he can tell you're not doing tricks. At least not perfectly. There's some little tidbit of magic that he notices. Roll me a
imagine.
performance check.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because I imagine that she does try to use practical, but the little tidbit that probably eked out was when she almost fumbled a card.
Mm-hmm. Something small, something innocuous.
Something small and innocuous. But you said performance, right?
Yes, performance check.
That's going to be a 11 plus 19.
19. So you continue doing tricks. And at some point during your next routine, you don't fumble, but I will give you a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can botch the trick and give away how the trick is done,
Mm-hmm.
or you can use magic. And I'm not going to track your spell slots, but just know how many you have as if you had a long rest.
Okay.
But you can effectively burn a spell slot and continue the trick uninterrupted, or you can botch it and reveal how it's done to everyone.
Oh, there's so many fucking people here.
There's at least 60 people.
Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna roll for this. Wait, no, she saw the fucking
The
bishop
church
is,
member.
the church peoples are here. The spooky mask is here. I imagine she was going to something was, I don't know, falling or some shit, and she was going to just save it really quick, and then she remembered in the back the mask, and she just stops and she just lets it fall. Because holy shit, now is not the time to get caught doing real magic in a magic show.
You let the pieces of the sleight of hand trick fall, and in so doing, you reveal the nature of the trick. And now roll me a perception check. This is a DC 5 perception check.
17.
17. So that is a crit. So with a critical success, you look out onto the crowd after having just fumbled your magic trick. Every single kid in the front row, like maybe 10 or 15 kids, they're not smiling anymore. They're looking at you like, what? And a handful of them are kind of furrowing their brows, squinting a little bit, incredulous of what just happened.
Oof.
How's Paige feeling now?
Internally fucking gutted. But I imagine she tries to play it off like it's a part of the show. It's a whoops. Like, talking with Pierre, like, you trying to salvage the situation,
Mm-hmm.
trying to lead it into the next one as if this is all part of it. But she's, oh man, the kid's reaction is just sitting in her stomach, and it feels like a stone weighing her down.
Okay. It's hard, but you're gonna get through it. You got show momentum. You're doing good. Roll me a performance check at -10.
Uh, that's going to be a of a +8 -10 is going to be a -2. That's going to be That's gonna be an 8.
So your next trick, you go to set it up, and even during the setup, you fumble the setup, like in a way where you immediately give up the ghost. So, for example, you go to set up a like a disappearing or separating rings or a self-tying knot or something, and immediately you drop all of the rings, the ones that are already combined and the ones that are not. You drop the rope, the 2 severed pieces and the 1 continuous piece, and how they are conjoined via magnets. Like everything, immediately you fumble and ruin your next trick before it even gets off the ground.
Oof.
Pierre, you can feel him like running up to your side, and you're starting to get that little like nervous twitch in the back of your head that's like, haha, okay, things aren't great, but we're gonna get through it. As Pierre runs up beside you, he whispers into your ear something, but you can't quite hear him. It's almost like he's like mumbling it to you, and he's kind of distanced away from you. So roll me a will save.
That's gonna be a 17 plus 7, 24.
24. So you kind of catch yourself in the moment and start to calm down, and you can hear Pierre saying, like, stressed out in a voice that you've not heard him use before, just like, what are you doing? You're botching all of the tricks. There are children watching.
I imagine she like grits through like teeth. It's like, I know, I can see them. Just shut up. She's trying to pull every ounce of showmanship together that she has left in her to just try and get this back on the rails. She doesn't. I feel like at this point she's botched 2 tricks in a row. She's like, I can't do the whole show, but I just need to do one more. I just gotta pass one more, and then curtains. I don't have to. There's no way I can get them all, but I just need just one more. As she just kind of grits her teeth into a smile as she turns around to go and get whatever props she needs for her next trick, pattering about clumsiness.
The next trick. So what is the grand finale for Paige? Is it simple? Is it complex? Is it what?
I imagine that it is like the grand finale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was supposed to come later, but they're moving it up. They're fucking doing it now.
Doing it live.
Doing it live. All right.
We'll do it live.
I imagine that this is something that she learned from her grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that it's essentially it's a lot of sleight of hand. But if you can get it off right, it looks like you just made teleportation happen.
Mm-hmm.
Making items appear where they were not. And if you can get it off right, just a bunch of little teleportations before you move something huge that was slowly already being moved in the background.
Okay.
And then that's the kicker.
Okay. So you go to set this up. You are preparing to do the prestige of magic tricks. in a city where magic is witchcraft, and witchcraft is a killable offense. You are anxious, to say the very least, but there is a small bit of serendipity as you look out to the crowd, and the church attendees have left. The masked person is gone, and Archbishop Morgan has gone. It seems like they just don't have a taste for sleight of hand, which suits you just fine. So, you set up this trick. Roll me a will save at DC 30. I believe in you.
I can't pass it.
If you get a natural 20, you can pass it.
Okay. Come on, Paige. Nope.
What did you roll?
I got a 19.
19. So you feel at ease as you get ready to set this up. And how does this trick work? Do you make Pierre disappear and reappear, or do you do it to yourself?
No, she's already done that. You know, that's old news. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that she starts with little items here and there, small things that as she and Pierre do their pattering and their bickering, they place different things as like decoration. Because I imagine the setup of the show is them arguing about Paige decorating the stage because she wants like flowers here, she wants a stuffed animal there, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
imagine that the trick here is uh signaling the end of the show and talking about decorations for next time, you know, and then being like, I think this would look better here. Boom, switch, you know?
Amazing.
And then the finale of it, after a couple of different switches, swapping like a vase of flowers and a teddy bear, swapping this curtain over here with a different like one over there, just moving things that were already established to be on the stage where they were not moved, swapping them around. Um, I imagine at the like very end, it's very simple and it's very cute. Uh, it's just a very quick essentially costume change, sort of. Pierre and Paige essentially swap places, and he goes into the more magician-like outfit, and she goes into the more assistant-like outfit,
Mm-hmm.
as if they teleported roles, and that's how it's supposed to go.
Okay. So it starts off flawless. Tiny knickknacks, doodads, and stage accoutrement appearing and disappearing at will. And you start to regain the control and trust of the crowd back. And the church members, they're long gone, thankfully. And as you teleport something bigger and move something farther or swap something faster, and you get more and more intricate with each one, you feel yourself kind of dipping into this magical part of yourself, just to make sure that you can get the absolute most razzle dazzle out of your finale, wow the kids, give them something to remember, and then you can get off the stage and give yourself a break. And as you are making these illusions transpire, roll me a flat d20 roll.
Okay.
You need to beat a 5. Or sorry, you need to beat a 15. You need to beat a 15.
Okay. Please. Got a 19.
19. So you have Pierre come on stage and you swap clothing with him, and you are feeling just invigorated by this, because it's when you do the clothing swap, the crowd, like all of the children start cheering and clapping, and the looks of wonderment and like true genuine joy start coming across all the children's faces. And you start to feel yourself pick back up, like kind of riding the high a little bit on this performance. And as you feel that rush of satisfaction, you look out into the crowd and you feel like the color drain from everything around him. But that man with the red hair is looking at you. And he speaks. And his voice penetrates all the noise and travels straight into your ear, almost propelled by a magic of his own. And you hear very, very clearly in a voice that you don't recognize, but doesn't feel strange to you. You hear him say, "I know what you are." Roll me a will save.
Fuck! It's gonna be a nat 1. 8 total.
You hear those words, and your blood understandably runs cold. There are no church members here, but that anxiety rushes back to you. The terror of being found out, especially with the crowd this big, which you go and look, and it has only gotten bigger. You are easily over 80 people in the crowd now. You have lost 2 over the course of this show. And those 2, you're starting to wonder if they're not just hiding somewhere in the crowd. Maybe they're there and you just missed them. There's so many people here. And you feel something tap you on the shoulder, and it takes you by surprise. And you're not frightened for very long, but you are frightened for just long enough. You turn on your heel. What spell would you like to cast? Between Mind Blank and Dragon's Breath.
When she rolled a nat 1 on the will save, she's really freaked out. There's so many people here. Someone said they know who she is. She gets tapped on the shoulder. Peak paranoia and fear. It'd have to be, like, that instance of fear would have to be mind blank.
Oh, that's the wrong spell. That's my bad. But the memory erasure spell.
Okay. I
Yes.
don't know. You just gave me names. I don't
Yeah,
got
you're
the
fine.
list.
Yeah, so you turn and you throw out the magic, and it invisibly invades this person's mind. And you see that it was Pierre. You don't know what he was about to say, and neither does he. He blinks, confused, and he looks at you. And in a perfect, unaccented English accent, he says, "Where am I?"
No.
He looks out at the crowd. Everyone is cheering. He looks back to you. "Who are you?" What do you do?
They're still, like, on stage. People are still applauding. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She has a very, very big, big smile that is so forced as, like, her eyes start welling up and, like, tears start, like, dripping down. her cheeks, and she tries to squeeze her eyes just really, really tight. She's trying to make it seem like she's happy crying, but she kind of feels the earth shift beneath her a little bit, and she kind of like instinctively wants to like reach an arm out to steady herself on Pierre, but she can't bring herself to do it. She can't touch him right now. She kind of sways the other way, away from him, and she kind of staggers a little bit to just get the rope with the fucking curtain, and she just hugs it just to cut them off from the crowd, as she's trying very hard to not start hyperventilating and just trying to hold it together until the crowd can't see them anymore.
You lean on the curtain rope, and as you do, with tears welling in your eyes, you can see, you don't have to roll a perception check for this. Riley has his boyfriend instincts kick in. You see the recognition on his face, and he immediately starts pushing through the crowd to get to you. Something is wrong, and he has to help. And you turn to see your parents. They also have a face of concern, and they're starting to push their way through the crowd as well. What do you do?
Oh no, they're starting to make their way up here. What's Pierre doing?
He is looking lost and confused. He is afraid and unsure.
She
Let me ask you a different question. Rather than what do
Okay.
you do,
Okay.
what does Paige want to happen?
Paige wants to have never casted that fucking spell. Paige wants to turn back time. Paige would take not doing the show in the first place. She's wishing that it went back to this morning. Was it the morning? It's kind of hard because it's dream, but she wants to go back to before the show started and just cancel it before it got big, before people started gathering and noticing, because it's none of the crowd's applause or any of the children's laughter was worth this.
You cloy onto the image of everything from before desperately. And as you are holding on to that image, you feel the rope start to give underneath you, and the curtain is pulled. And you are subsumed in the dark of the backstage area. It's not completely dark, but it's dark enough that you feel isolated. As soon as the curtain falls, the crowd cheering seems to go deathly silent. You are alone, and you turn to Pierre, or at least you remember him as Pierre. But this person doesn't seem to remember Pierre. They look to you in confusion, and they just shake their head. Did you do something to me?
I imagine that Paige is starting to work up the courage to try to speak to him. And as he says that, she opens up her mouth, and all that can kind of come out is a sob. As I feel like she defaults to French because she's so worked up, and all she can manage is just like in French between like sobs as she tries to wipe the tears away is just I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry all over again, over and over and over.
Start to furiously apologize to this person in a language that they no longer understand. As You do, and they start to just baffled to just watch you, not understanding. Behind you, you hear frantic footsteps, and you turn around in reflex. Pick an energy type.
Oh my god. What are my options?
Fire, cold, lightning, sonic, mental.
Mental's an energy?
And for this purpose, you can pick mental.
Okay. Just kind of mental themed. But I don't know if I want to pick that considering what just fucking happened. Is it Sonic is sound, right?
Sonic is sound.
Well, flip the coin. I'm gonna go with Sonic.
Sonic.
You
You
know,
turn
hedgehog.
around. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yes. So you turn around. And as you turn around, you are unable to stop yourself as you let out one last gasp. And as you do, you feel the magic force its way out of you. It is no longer under your control. That magic in you latches on to the sound of that sob, and it explodes. Pierre, rounding the corner, running up the steps, holding out a hand outstretched to you,
Pierre?
or not Pierre, sorry, Riley.
Okay.
Riley, rounding the corner, running up the steps, holding out a hand to you, is blasted by a wave of invisible force as this sonic blast hits him. You can see the blood vessels pop in parts of his face. His ears and nose bleed, and he is thrown backwards into a pile of curtains. You're deafened for a period of time. You don't know how long it is that you are deaf, but you have made yourself deaf. You can hear the muffled, like, from behind you. From Pierre. You hear what you think is more stomping from different parts of the stage. Which energy type would you like to pick next? You cannot pick Sonic.
Can you read them out again? I'll type them down.
Fire, cold, lightning, acid, mental.
So she's deafened right now, right?
Yes.
In this moment, can she see anything in this moment before the next blast goes off?
I would leave it up to you as to how much her eyes watering impedes her vision.
I'd say she's at 50%.
Okay, 50%. Smudgy vision, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm. So what can she make out around her? Or is she just like...
You can make out, as you turn around, you can see Pierre. Which energy type do you pick?
1, 2, 3. I'm gonna roll a d6. I want to take this out of my own hands into RNGesus's. We're gonna go with mental. Because he hasn't had
Mental?
enough of that shit, apparently.
You turn to Pierre, and you feel yourself say something, though you don't know what you said. You don't know the actual words that came out of your mouth, and you can't hear them, but they weren't your own. And through tear-stained eyes and blurry vision, you can see Pierre grab the sides of his head in invisible agony and fall to his knees. So, you hear more footsteps running. Which energy type next?
Oh man, she hates to fucking break. Alright. Can she run at all?
Sure, but you have to pick an energy type.
Because I feel like this is fucking strike 3. It's like she needs to get away from people. This is dangerous, but
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be cold. She's going to
Cold.
try and put as much distance as she can.
You get up and run. You sprint forward, turn to get off of the stage, and as you turn, you are face to face with Edgar, who, from behind your blurry vision, he looks more confused and concerned than outright worried, but he extends a hand out to you, and you feel your hand gently wave upwards, and you can see him slowly stop moving. His skin pales over and crusts with frost. The blood vessels in his fingers and fingertips show through the cold blue skin. You start to run past him. You run off of the stage and out into the city streets of Termarkt. You are surrounded by people. Which energy type next?
Oh fuck. Is there like a way she can try and like run to avoid people as much as she can?
You turn to try and avoid people. And as you turn to get away from the crowd, you are met face to face with your parents. I'm going to pick acid for you.
That's what I rolled. Fuck.
You turn and you watch your parents with shock and horror go limp as they are eaten by the acid that explodes out of your fingertips. You start to try and run again, trying to escape whatever has possessed you. You turn and face the crowd of people. That orange-haired man is nowhere to be seen, but you can feel like he is watching you. Which energy next?
It's gonna be fire. As she's just trying to avoid. She's a fucking mess. She's a wreck. Her loved ones, one by one, are all getting hurt and or killed by something she doesn't understand what's happened.
You throw your hands up, trying to shoo people away from you. It's hard to understand what's happening, and it's hard to get to understand what is coming over them. But these people are a mix of confused and afraid, though they aren't running away. And as you start to wave your hands to try and shoo them back, you see a mote of small red fire blossom in your hand. You know this spell. It wells with concentrated destructive energy, and you grab at it like you're trying to grab at a stream of water and catch it. It is impossible. Every time you swipe at the little mote, it just moves with your hand, always and forever out of reach. And you sit there and watch it pulse and grow and thrum with energy until it is almost too late. And then all of a sudden, the man with orange hair steps out from a corner of your vision that you don't know how he got to. And he puts a hand over yours and snuffs out that mote of fire. And he holds a finger up to his lips, and he says, "Come see me in the woods." And he holds a finger up and blows the dream out. And you wake up with a start in your tent. Alone. Save for Pierre, who is asleep beside you.
Well, Paige is a mess. Imagine there's like still like tear tracks. Anyway, the messy bedhead, and her pajamas are probably literally rumpled from probably tossing and turning, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And she just sits, and she wants to reach out to Pierre to go to her older brother for comfort, like she always does whenever she has a nightmare. But she inches away after she moves just one hand towards him. She kind of pulls it back before like looking at that hand that just a few seconds ago was about to hurt so many people. And she kind of just pulls her knees up under her chin and kind of wraps her blanket around her. And she just sits, and she kind of rocks back and forth and probably tries to comfort herself with a humming that same song that she sang to Pierre, trying to hum it and kind of sing to herself, try and calm herself down. And it's very broken, and the melody isn't consistent at all, but neither is her breathing. But she's trying to pull herself together without anyone else, because she doesn't want to be near anyone she cares about at the moment.
You pull your knees up and hum a familiar tune in the silence of the night. And the words echo in the back of your mind, not certain if they're from a subconscious part of your mind or if they are planted there. Come see me in the woods. Again and again.
Jesus Christ.
What do you do?
She gets up. She's taking her fucking blanket with her. She's going to step out of the tent.
You step out of the tent. Camp is quiet. You can see Angharad in the tree with Madigan. Angharad is not asleep, but strangely enough, she does not react to you exiting the tent. Though you are plainly in her line of sight, she doesn't even notice you.
Well, I guess Paige is just that sneaky, because I imagine she's trying to not disturb anyone, so she probably thinks that she is just successful. Her mind's kind of preoccupied at the moment, but she'll tiptoe.
You
And
tiptoe.
she's still got the big ass blanket wrapped around her. She looks fucking pathetic.
With your blanket wrapped around you, partially covering your head like
A little
full
poncho,
like
yeah.
poncho burrito style.
Exactly. You know.
You slink into the shallowest edge of the wood. And staring at your back as you go is a man with piercing amber eyes and orange hair who quietly follows after you, as he has been for a while. And we'll get back to you. We have one more dream. Willow, it's your turn.
My dude, have you looked at the time recently?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I know. So, Willow, your dreams, I imagine, are very grounded. And they have always been a mix of either incredibly colorful, like in a bizarre, logical way, or you sleep straight through and have no dream, and it's just the darkness of sleep and then consciousness. And this time is slightly different, as the moment you really let yourself fall into sleep, excuse me, the moment you let yourself fall into sleep, you instantly open your eyes and you are in the woods where you should be. And it's not uncomfortable. The woods are unusual, but they are a home. At least to a part of you, they are home. So you look around. There is no snow, though it is bitter cold. And as you are looking around, you notice standing amongst the dark of the wood yourself. Or at least they look like you. It's always hard to tell at first, but you recognize them. It's Summer. She's leaning on a tree. She raises an eyebrow. Didn't expect to see you here, of all places.
And exactly what? Fuck me. Hold on.
We're getting through it.
And exactly what does that mean?
She raises an eyebrow. You mean you don't remember? When were you here last time? Suppose it's been a while.
Willow just kind of is walked up beside her and is like, kind of hands on her hips, and just waits for an answer.
She regards you, and then, like, obviously frustrated, but not so frustrated she won't give you an answer. She spins around, and she was leaning against the tree. As she gets up and pivots around it, she circles all the way around the tree, and when she comes out the other side, she is off. She's different. Something about her has changed, and you know this. You know it in your gut. Dream logic dictates something has changed. But she looks the same. And she says, many months ago, I think when one of us was wandering around, well, you were here. I guess you don't remember. That makes sense. This is, well, Not really the woods. More just like a waiting room. A foggy, empty-headed space.
She just kind of tilts her head and looks around for a minute. Oh. A space when you're not seeing, yes?
She blinks and looks to you and then looks off in a different direction. I suppose you could say that. And roll me a perception check.
Actually, pull up. 22.
22. So, it's worth noting that summer and winter, when you see them as you are in the pilot's seat, and they are incorporeal images of something in the real world, quote unquote. When you see them there are elements of them that are dissimilar from you. Like bits of greenery that seem to highlight the corners of their outfit, or maybe their clothing is tinted a slightly different color. They look like you, but there is a hint of something different, which is how you easily distinguish between summer and winter and yourself. And this time when you see Summer, she doesn't really have that. And it takes you a minute to really put a finger on it, but she doesn't have the summery affectation she typically does to her appearance. There's no hint of green. There's no grass or twig or thorn branch. There's nothing that accents the edges of her clothing. She just looks like you. Exactly as you are. Not even mirrored. There is a part of you that is a little offended, because at least a mirror has the decency to show you exactly where everything is head on. When you look at yourself, unreflected, it almost feels like you're not looking at yourself. It doesn't feel right. Because in most cases, you only ever see your own reflection. You never see how you are truly to everyone else. And as you turn around and look out into the dark of the wood, you see another you, much in the same vein as you saw Summer. You see that this is Winter. But there's something also off about her. More than just her body language, she walks out from behind a tree that is much too small for her to hide behind. She walks out from behind it and props herself up against it, leaning with her arms crossed, like she's cold. Summer, from beside you, puts a hand on her hip and says, "Well, what's her problem? She looks positively moody."
Well, to give her credit, she has been a little bit quiet lately.
Summer starts walking towards her, and as she does, she just casually throws out there, like, "This is her season, isn't it? It's supposed to be cold and, I don't know, snowy. All the winter crawlies and creepies are coming out to play."
Willow just kind of lifts her chin a little bit in greeting towards Winter and raise a hand. Well, us three of us here. That means the only other one left is, well, a little concerning that we don't know where she is.
Winter.
Starts looking around.
Yeah, you start looking around, and Winter also joins you and says, "I don't really want to see her." I would prefer not seeing her. She's unsettling. And I couldn't tell you why. She's off. You don't remember being trapped in here with her, do you?
There's a little twitch to Willow's eye as she kind of looks towards Winter. Can't say that I do.
Winter looks upset. I don't get it. You get to go and be out there. And, well, frankly, I miss being able to do that. And we have to be trapped in here, and you don't even remember your time in here when we do get a little break. How infrequent that may be.
Well, if you can find some way of making the arrangement better, I invite you to explain your logic.
She sighs and kind of like shuffles her posture from the left to the right, but it's still like arms crossed, leaned against the tree. Summer, from beside you, says, "Ugh, he's been like this all day, and I'm not sure how to help her. Starting to remind me of Kristen."
There's a slightly almost conspiratorial kind of smirk at that, but Willow does not comment on it. She knows better. And just kind of tilts her head towards Winter. If we could find a better arrangement, you know that I would at least try to entertain it and offer it.
Winter, she seems not entirely placated by this, but there is at least a little bit of relief in her posture. She kind of, shoulders slacken a little bit. You're not just saying that.
Well, even if I don't remember my time here, both of you have been useful and agreeable after the start. And until we figure out exactly how all of this came to be, she just kind of like gestures vaguely around her. We all have to make the best of it.
All of us. Behind you, you see another you. But it's not odd. At least not capital O odd. This is an unnamed voice. I don't suppose you're talking about how to get out of here, are you?
Willow just kind of like slowly turns, looks up and down, looks towards Summer and Winter, see if they have any idea what the fuck's going on, looks back, and who exactly would you be?
Willow puts one hand on her hip, and she looks at you, Willow, and says, "Well, who do you think? You're me, and I'm you."
Just one hand going up towards the temple, rubbing it a little bit. Oh, joy, we're back at this. Considering the fact that you don't know where you are, That does prove that you're rather new, aren't you?
Well, in a matter of speaking, yes, but I did manage to leave once before. At least I think I managed it. It's hard to be sure. I wish I had my things with me. And she looks a little, like, not upset, just off. It'd be like if you reached for a thing that was supposed to be on your belt and it's not there, and you're just like, damn it, I don't know where it went. You know I'm not from here, right? Like, this place, this isn't like a touching ground for... And she vaguely gestured towards summer and winter. Summer rebuffs with, excuse me, do you think I was hatched?
Yeah, there's just a little hint of amusement on Willow's face, and she shakes her head. Oh, I'm perfectly aware that none of you come into existence here. However, I'd still like to figure out where you do come into existence and end up here.
Well, where do you come into existence here?
Willow just kind of like tilts her head. And I'm assuming since all of you are sharing my form, this is tied to me somehow, but I knew for a fact I did not have all of you before. Nor any of the magic any of you tend to provide.
Another voice from the distance says, do you mean your form? It's my form. You're all just sharing its likeness. Another Willow walks out.
Willow just looks. Alright, I think we need to go find a place to sit down and start from scratch yet again.
But what from scratch? Summer chimes in. Oh, this is going to take forever. The first time, it was at least a month of just figuring out how many there were.
Willow just kind of like gestures towards Summer. That's what we're starting. Shaking the trees to see if there's any more that fall out.
The fourth Willow puts, like, one hand on her hip and just kind of tilts her head and says, excuse me, you say they like it's not me. Are you the they? She points to Summer and Winter. I was wandering around alone until I stumbled upon a group of me's.
Well, if you're truly supposed to be Willow, then you appreciate the logical debate, yes?
She nods.
Would it not be logical that if we, she gestures to herself and then towards Summer and Winter, have knowledge of something that we claim to have happened beforehand, that all of us have experienced several times over, in fact, I would suggest that we are, in fact, the older.
Well, how do you define age? Is age experience, or is it just things that have happened in here? I certainly remember growing up with all of my siblings.
Willow just kind of tilts her head. Do you remember what happened just before we fell asleep today?
She crosses her arms and kind of turns her head quizzically. I do. We had a nice conversation with Pierre. Lovely boy, but airheaded. Winter and Summer look at each other and then look at you.
Lovely boy, you say?
From the darkness, a fifth willow emerges. We absolutely did not have a conversation with Pierre. The third willow, puts a hand to her temple, mimicking a gesture of yours earlier, and says, "This is going to quickly turn into a migraine."
Willow just let out a long sigh. Oh, yes. I imagine if you've had to do this several times over.
Several times over.
It doesn't happen often, but every so often there's another one or two of you that pops up.
Willow number 4, gets this thinking look on her face and kind of looks skyward for a second towards the dark canopy of trees that seem to just stretch on infinitely in this liminal part of the woods. Oh, hang on. We've done this before, and we're here now. Do you have memories that are wrong? I don't remember Pierre. Another willow speaks up. I don't remember Pierre either. Well, then that makes me the odd one out. I can't be the fake, she says with quotation marks, if I'm the only one who remembers something unique.
Do you just not remember Pierre? Do you remember no one?
I remember everyone else. I just don't remember... Well, that was a fucking wrong accent. I just don't remember having a conversation with someone other than Pierre before bed. One of the willows looks to you, and at this point you're not sure if it's Summer or one of the other two, but one of them looks at you and says, "We tell her who it was? I'm not sure we should give that away. I think that's kind of like an advantage in this case."
What was the conversation about?
The extra yous all turn towards the odd you out. A sixth willow emerges from behind all of you.
Joe?
It was about magic. The boy has magic. The willow who was originally being interrogated looks and says, "Well, I'm not wrong. It was about magic." Is this a Fae trick? I don't think Fae can exist here.
Well, if they could, I certainly would like to meet them. Perhaps they'd have a few answers.
It might make this easier if we could find a dream-faring Fae. And they could kind of wander around in this mind space. Do either of you remember being here before? No?
Willow just kind of shakes her head. I would agree, however, I'd also be concerned as to what a Fae would do here. Alright. There's more than enough of us now. Let's put off conversations about who is who. At least until we can, I don't know, do a sweep. Just kind of looks vaguely in the direction that she is pretty sure Summer and Winter are still in.
Mm-hmm. So winter, you know winter is still winter because winter has been posted up like arms crossed, leaning against a tree the whole time. And as far as you're aware, she hasn't really said much.
Be much faster if we could just find everyone that's new.
I do
Well-
wonder where they come from. They can't all come from. Well, I don't even know. But there's too many from just one place, I would think. Well, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. We've gotten one step closer to figuring that out. We've finally been able to get people to let us out of the city. Maybe with any luck we'll manage to find that tree again.
When you say the tree, you feel a stir in the pit of your chest. None of the other willows react. Except one, the one who saw Pierre. But that one willow looks at you and kind of furrows her brow. The other ewes have kind of pulled apart and are talking in pairs. Some are with Winter and 4 with 5, or 4 with 6. Willow number 5, don't make any Mambo number 5 jokes, you'll get banned. Willow number 5 steps forward. The tree, do you remember it?
Only vaguely. Part of the struggle of trying to figure out where it is again.
She furrows her brow and kind of looks at you very intensely. I don't suppose you could describe what happened there, can you? After finding it. Do you remember?
We'll just kind of tilt her head. I remember finding it and very much against Lorelai's suggestions. Going to investigate it. It felt odd. Old. Older than a tree should be.
Willow nods.
Remember energy of some sort. Not seen but felt, and then blackness. And small amount of discomfort. She kind of reaches up and like subconsciously is like rubbing her left shoulder and arm. And then I remember waking up afterward with these damned marks.
A willow speaks up. I remember Lorelei pulling me from the wreckage. Another willow speaks up. It wasn't Lorelei, but for me it was Lauren. Another willow speaks up. I remember tunnels. Like carved stone. A place where no tree should really be able to thrive, and yet there it was.
Stone. in as well as out, like the carvings outside?
All of the willows nod. It's at this point you notice that there are even more willows. The only one that you can truly distinguish out of the group being Winter.
Is Winter still cranky looking, or is she vaguely interested at this point?
She's vaguely interested. You are confident in that it's probably still Willow, or you're confident. Yeah, it is definitely Willow. You are confident in that it's probably still Winter, for the fact that her arms are crossed, but she's not leaning against the tree. She's just standing by it. Oh, like she sat up straighter, and she's having a conversation with Willow about something.
You say you remember Lauren.
My sister, yes. Two of the willows, like, shake their head and look at her like, Lauren, your sister? Lauren?
Do you not know Lorelei?
She looks at the other willows and then to you. No, I've never met a Lorelei. I assume that Lorelei is your sister and not Lauren. A willow speaks up. And I assume that Pierre is your... Not Pierre? You didn't say a name.
Pierre's just a acquaintance, a friend, I suppose. His sister's the one
Different
that
willow
has
speak.
magic.
Yeah, a different willow speaks up and says exactly the same thing. Just, it's the sister who has the magic. That would be Paige, I think her name was. I haven't talked to her much.
So if we're all remembering different things, well, partially. I wonder. Perhaps the world is not running in quite a straight line.
Be multiple worlds running in multiple straight lines, all in parallel. If they were running in parallel, then how would we be here to tell us that we're running in parallel? That would make us an intersection? Well, that's difficult to prove.
Unless we stumbled upon an intersection.
That makes this place that we're in, and when that willow speaks, he does like a slow turn and looks around. And it is an infinite, liminal, flat, forested area. Lit by ambient light from somewhere. There's no moon, there's no sky. It's just darkness. This place would be... what? Residue? Are we all impressions left on one another, or is this an active transport?
That would be the next question. I think residue might be a little too weak a word if we are all experiencing things at the same time and being able to talk about things that have happened very recently.
Do you think one of us can help the other with... maybe things are happening differently in their timeline because of things that happened in our timeline? You're jumping to conclusions, jumping straight into timelines now, aren't you? Well, we could test that theory, couldn't we? Another says, only if we remember. Last time I left here, I didn't remember a thing. Usually never remember a thing coming out of here. Wonder if that's a problem with the place or a problem with me.
Except, we do know somebody that's actually two somebodies that do remember. Looks to where she knows Winter is.
Winter is posted up, or not posted up, but like still standing there. You're not sure if it's still Winter. Her arms are no longer crossed, but if she did not move, it's probably still her.
Willow just kind of frowns for a second. Well, if all of us think that we're Willow, except the two that know themselves to be called Winter and Summer most of the time. Winter, Summer, will you be able to remember this conversation?
Two of them, like, you can see of the crowd of willows, which is now like 12 or 13 willows strong, two of them turn their head to you. And they start to awkwardly shuffle over. It's like, do you remember this conversation? Hard to say. I remember some things from here. Probably, though.
If we can remember, there's a hypothesis to test. She again looks back, like across the crowd. The only challenge would be figuring out what the test is.
Willows, all of them do. What is Willow? Describe to me how Willow is. Like, what does Willow do with her hands and her body when she is, like, deeply concentrating on an idea? When she is going into, like, theory mode in her mind, what does she look like to other people?
Usually it's either kind of like arms crossed or like kind of gesticulating in front of her as she is pacing. Or there are moments where like either she pulls out something to write on or will kind of do the thing where if you're like trying to figure out something and you do like the mental math, you kind of air writes things. It's one of those two things.
So you see that this group of willows who were kind of standing behind you, it was 4, it is now 6. 3 of them set to pacing at different intervals. The other 3 pull out various writing utensils and writing pads, all of which are similar, just not exactly the same. But you're not sure if that's because it's a dream or if it's because of something else. You feel beside you a new presence. This one radiates with a distinct difference to the others. And when you turn to look at this self, you see a version of you that is tired, exhausted. What does Willow look like if she is at the end of her rope? A Willow that hasn't slept in 2 days and is on the brink of something.
On the brink of something, not sleeping in the lab, or because like she's been out in the wilderness bullshit?
More of the former than the latter. More of the lab.
Probably. She keeps herself pretty pressed and cleaned and, like, you know, shirt tucked in, and keeps her sleeves down unless she's working, but, like, sleeves fully rolled up, like, shirt half untucked. The bun that she wears, that's always a little bit messy, is, like, loose and kind of hanging at the back of her head. And there's far more strands just sticking out in random directions. The kind of neckerchief and ties that she tends to wear, like, completely untied, just hanging around her neck. Everything to get her more comfortable and also give her more, like, range of movement to do things, so she doesn't have to fight her clothes or anything. And just lived in.
You see that image before you in this willow. And as you start to focus in on it and you feel the thrum of that presence, several of the other willows start to take notice of it. And soon enough, all of the willows, even winter and summer, who have gravitated closer to you, are looking at this willow. And she speaks, and it feels like her voice comes from any other direction but the direction you're looking at. It comes from the left side behind your head, or it comes from, like, above you, or beside you, or behind you. And you hear, "I don't know what to do anymore. I've been trying to keep it together, but I can't keep doing it." But it doesn't really matter, does it?
Can't keep doing what exactly?
She looks up like she didn't see you before. "Which number are you?"
Yeah, that's always going to be a thing of debate, isn't it?
He cracks a smile, and you can see the kind of dark humor, and she nods. "I suppose it will be. The tree. My sibling. The magic. The mark. The Mies."
You found the tree again, didn't you?
She looks shell-shocked. But after a pause, she nods. "I went there with all of them. Madigan and Paige and Pierre, Electra, Angharad, Agneta, Lucy, Francis, Morgan, Percival, Duke." I can't remember all the names. The easy ones are the first few.
And it doesn't sound like it went well, if you forget.
He nods. But you have to go. You can't not go. I could tell you not to go, but you would go anyway. It's a pain being a bit stubborn like I am. Like you are, I should say. I've warned you before, but it's... She just trails off.
Willow just tilts her head. Yeah, if you know I'm going to go, then you also know what I should not do other than going.
Her eyes start to scan, like reading an invisible document. And you notice that she's hunched over. Like she's been bending over for a long time and her posture has suffered for it. There's too many things to remember. I don't think it matters. But if I had to give you advice, I guess it would be... And she trails off again. You feel like a corral of other willows beside you. It would be... You're just about to say something. Go on, give her a chance, let her finish. She's just about to finish. Don't interrupt her. It grows not into a loud cacophony, because Willow doesn't shout, especially, like, to herself. But it is a lot of noise in a seemingly otherwise silent space.
Willow will let it go on for just a minute or two, but as it doesn't seem to die down, just 2 fingers in the mouth and that one of those loud ass whistles.
You whistle, so the room goes dead silent. Summer and winter, you feel like press into either shoulder, and the one before you says, or like kind of smiles. I don't remember where I learned that. It's good to say. It's good to see that it worked to get my attention. Our attention.
Oh, but I had to find some way of getting me and Lorelei out of the trees.
She smiles, and you can see, like, at first you don't really believe it, but after a second you're certain. A little tear comes down out of the corner of her eye, and she wipes it with her back of her hand. I would say, if you're going to go to the tree, trust your gut. Don't overthink it. It's so easy to overthink it. But you know what you have to do. And she looks at you, Willow, when she says that. And then her eyes shift focus. She doesn't look away, but the focus of her eyes goes to something distant behind you. And she says, "Wonder if that will work. This time." And you hear a steady wave of each other willow say, "I guess we'll have to see. I guess we'll have to see. Guess we'll have to see. I guess we'll have to see. I guess we'll have to see."
feel like that's when Willow wakes up, but I don't want to say she does.
Is there any last thing you want to try in what might be the final moment you have with whomever this is?
Willow just kind of tilts her head slightly. And she has remained relaxed through all of this, especially because she knows that there's summer and winter kind of flanking her. So she just tilts her head and studying this person in front of her. Well, even if it doesn't work this time. If I'm stubborn, you're stubborn too. Will be a logical way of moving forward eventually.
She smiles. And the last thing you see or the last thing you hear, is she smiles and looks up at you and straightens her posture, at least as much as she can. She says, I am damn stubborn. And you can see her eyes look at summer and winter on either side of you. And when you blink, you are awake in the tent.
Just kind of slowly rubs her eyes and sits up. Does she remember this fucking dream?
Roll me a D100.
That's okay. 78.
78. It is faint. It's like looking through a foggy piece of glass and like trying to parse words that have been recorded and re-recorded and re-recorded, but you can remember some parts of it. And when you focus on it and really focus on it, and the memory starts to come back to you, you feel in the moment that you recall it, hand on either shoulder, and in unison, in your voice, you hear, we can hold on to it forever, but we can hold on to it for a damn long time. And then the memory fades.
Imagine Willow, like, instinctively just, like, lights a lamp or something in her tent, pulls out a journal, and without, like, even properly looking up, starts writing what she remembers and just like, summer, winter, either of you available?
Almost like instantly, and in rare form, you find both of them sitting on crisscross in front of you.
She is
Each of them in a very similar pose, like they have an eyebrow cocked and they're just like ready to go.
Like, Willow's just trying to write as much as she can remember down. We might need to put all three of our heads together for this one.
Summer starts way and winter finishes ahead of you.
We'll write down this fucking dream word for word if she can manage.
You write down as much as you and Summer and Winter can hold on to. You get the feeling that it is a lot of effort for them to hold on to it, but it is far easier for them to hold on to it than for you. This requires all three of you to do. The two of them to hold on to their different perspectives on it, and for you to immortalize it somewhere since they cannot. But you can get quite a few details down. And we're going to end session with Willow and Summer and Winter in the tent, recording as much as they can of that encounter. Aang and Maddie in a tree, resting. Electra having fallen back asleep after having a nice conversation with Aang from a nightmare that seemed all too, well, all too real is a simple way of putting it. And lastly, Paige, going to visit someone in the woods.
Thank you for session, Joel.
Thank you guys for session. That was a good session. I had a lot of fun.
Shit.
Thanks for session.
There's a whole lot going on there.